Bounce does not mean recovery, but Ethereum might get a bounce within the next 5 to 10 days, or it might have to wait for $2,700 to be hit first, in which most of the altcoin market can also bounce, not recover, bounce with Ethereum. Let me show you what I mean in the charts. Are you ready? You better be. I'm going to take price off of the daily chart, and you can see 3 lines here. The red line is the daily 10, this is the daily 89, and I've drawn in manually the monthly 10 EMA. All right, so 2 videos ago, looks like this thumbnail here, it says no good, very bad news. I mentioned the following: the 89 EMA and the 10 EMA, and I'm going to show you, like, this is, honestly folks, this is pretty bad. This is, I don't want this to happen, but it's just look at this. I really don't want this to be true, folks. But mixed with the 1 hour chart, it looks like it's going to happen. All right, so you can see from that chart alone, every time the red crosses below the purple, it's bad, and I gave you the actual percentages down, right? So I covered that extensively throughout the whole video of that, and again, you can go back in my channel and check out the thumbnail that says no good, very bad news. Again, it looks like this right here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a measurement. And since the cross itself, how far down has it gone? Almost 30%. Some of the very, very lowest numbers within all of those numbers were in the 30s, so it doesn't seem like we're quite there yet. So let's go ahead and measure from that cross. All those numbers were measured from the cross down to $2,700, and that right there is 32%, which still is on the lower end, if not the lowest, out of all those numbers from all of price history where red crosses below purple. All right, so I think either 27 or 2,700 Ethereum will get a bounce, and I don't think that'll be recovery and off to the races. I mean, a bounce, perhaps like a 20% bounce, 15% bounce, something to that effect. Or we could, Ethereum could bounce within the next few days, perhaps up to the 89 EMA, which would not be that big of a bounce, but it'd still be a 17% play. It could be pretty good for your bags, and it could be offering, if that happens sooner than later, it could offer a relief rally. All right, relief rally to get rid of some alts, for example, before the move down to 2,700, in which you would likely have another bounce, unless capitulation seems to happen at that point. I doubt it would, but that would be an obvious point of a possible capitulation point. But I don't think capitulation is ready to happen, because people are still buying Luna and Phantom, and people aren't worn out from this yet, so there's not going to be capitulation quite that quick, in my opinion, based off of how strong alts large cap alts are still doing. All right, so here, let me show you the reason why I think that there could be a mini bounce up to the daily 89 EMA in the meantime. Before we do, make sure you flip your phones or get flipped off. Take your phone, it's horizontal, flip it vertically, hit the like button for me. It's going to help me continue making videos for you. I'd much appreciate your service in that regard. And also, I want you to leave me a comment down below specifically for the year 2022. What do you think the lowest price that Ethereum will hit within the year 2022? You don't have to give your exact reasons why. You could simply put a number down there. I want to know everybody's thoughts. And so let's go ahead and jump back into these charts. Maybe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at @𝘾𝙤𝙣𝙚𝙗, at 𝘾𝙤𝙤𝙗. Turn on your camera and microphone and ask me questions directly, and live links to the Discord community within the description section. If you don't want to join a community, but you want exclusive content above and beyond YouTube, go ahead and hit the join button to learn more. All right, so my boy set up this streamer deck that I have right here, if I don't drop it here, and I've had it for months, since the summer, and I just never set it up. I didn't want to take the time to do it. So last night, thinking, he's 12, he's been doing coding classes for 2 years. He's pretty good with computer, has a gaming computer, all that crap. Said, I'll pay you $100 if you set this up for me. And so I brought him out to my computer, showed him all the scenes and transitions I have, and I go, and then 20 minutes later comes to my room and he goes, I'm done. I'm like, frick, I should have offered him $20. I didn't think he was going to be able to do it. But anyway, So I'm still getting used to that. I'm getting back into the swing of making more YouTube content. So I had to take a break for a little bit. Sorry, everybody. All right, so let's jump back into this. So here's why I think there could be a bounce, not a recovery sooner than later, is if you look at all the times that red crossed below purple, which is the daily 10, going below the purple line, there are many, many cases where you get some sort of strong bounce after price touches the monthly 10 EMA and goes up back up to the purple line before then making another low or a higher low or some sort. Oftentimes it's a lower low, but in this case it did recover. So I'm kind of expecting something like this to happen. Maybe bounce up to here, then perhaps then go down to $2,700, and that's kind of what I'm thinking for the month of January into February. This would be my guess as of now, and I'm kind of so I think Ethereum price might be equivalent. Let me zoom into that spot right there. So I think Ethereum price right now today might be doing what the candle right there did or this candle right here did, in which we're going to have a run up to this point. That is my interpretation. And if it, if it seems to be charging down through the monthly 10 EMA, which again, I have drawn in for all of price history, then I would change my plan and scramble out of any positions that I take based off of this best guess. But this is really choppy price action. It's kind of hard to tell where things are going for the moment, so I'm not making any big plays right now until I get better signals. All right, so let's take a look here. So take off price. So red cross below purple. And in this event, price did just crash through the blue line. So I'm trying to focus on, did we get across? Yes. What happened with price relative to the blue line? It crashed through it, then used it as resistance. That's not currently the play because we've clearly gotten a bounce already. So this example is not quite the same. However, that is one reiteration. And here's another reiteration where it crashed right through, and then this was coronavirus, right? So these two examples are two that don't match up with what I think is going to happen. However, a few of the other examples do. So right here, you had a red purple cross and you had a bounce. It failed at the 10, then went below. And so this is what could happen. And so if I see price on a day get below it and use it as resistance, then the next day starts red, I'm going to scramble out of any positions that I have taken on in order to take this play based off of this interpretation. So to guard myself, I will be looking out for something like this with the 10 EMA squeezing price below the monthly 10, and then price closes below, use it as resistance, red day starts, boom, I'm the hell out of that of those positions that I had taken on. All right, so again, another reiteration I think is pretty similar to what is about ready to happen is you have the red purple cross, you get a bounce, it goes almost up to the purple line and then makes a lower low. I think, and so this lower low or this one right here could be, your $2,700 where then you might get another bounce, right? So this is essentially one of the examples that I think is about ready to happen. And again, it is my best guess, and I know when to scramble out of that best guess because I believe that price will come up and use the monthly 10 as resistance, and that would be my time to scramble out, right? All right, so another example here. We technically did have a cross, and it bounced right off of the monthly 10 again that I've drawn in here, even though I'm on the daily chart, and it ended up recovering. I don't think we'll get a full-on recovery, but this was truly more than a bounce. It did end up recovering off of that bounce to a certain degree, and set an all-time high on a daily closure basis and then kept charging up. So this is when, for people who've been with me for a while, I believe this was the 200 and some odd days, the analogy that I used back in April, Starbucks, or taking a long poop or camping out in Starbucks for 166 days. I believe that is the case, and you can see there during that time you had that cross and bounced off and it ended up truly recovering, right? So I guess it is a possibility that Ethereum does start truly recovering off this point, but that's simply not the read that I'm getting with the whole market with, because at this time there were fewer and fewer altcoins. You didn't have a bunch in the billions. I mean, almost nothing was in the billions at that time. So yeah, I think the market's a little overheated. I don't think that's going to be what happens, but it is one possibility. All right, so here you get another reiteration where the daily 10, you get a bounce and it only goes up to the daily 10 and it squeezes it out. So let's go ahead. So those are most of the reiterations of this because Ethereum doesn't have a ton of price history. So now that we've seen all these, let's go ahead and look at what's happening here. So another thing, so in order to bail out on my positions that I'm taking on based off of this play, what I'm going to be looking for is, are we going to get a squeeze of this red line? So let me make that red. the daily 10 getting ever closer and closer to the monthly, and price just can't get above. And the moment price gets below, and maybe even on the 1 hour chart, I would zoom in, starts using it as resistance, I would scramble out of my plays and most likely switch to shorts. But right now, I really kind of want to catch a small bounce up to here. And again, since I don't feel that, let me be very clear with, kind of how I interpret this. I don't think that there is a super strong edge with this. Because the pressure's down. This could just tank right through it, folks. Okay, I want to be very, very clear with that. This is simply my current play, so I can be in action and I know exactly when I'm going to get the hell out to protect myself. So I don't take massive losses with my crypto account, right? So I know what my main idea is. I know exactly when to scramble out and to avoid losses, and I know when to flip my my strategy here, right? So I have a three-pronged approach, a plan of attack. All right. So with that, though, I'm doing that to try to do a miniature counter trend play with these evidences of why we could get a significant bounce here, a very playable bounce with the idea that the trend is definitely down. But here's why it could happen. So I'm going to slowly enter and then know when to scramble out. And that's essentially what I'm doing right now. Another idea of that is it just seems like the market's been a little bit too friendly to shorters. So, in regard to just overall market interpretation, it could just keep going down, and it could be very friendly to shorts. And congratulations to people in shorts that you've been holding them for a while. You're probably doing pretty well right now. But I just feel from that perspective as well, that aligns with a potential little bounce to get at least some of those people out of play, get some people to take profits off of shorts, and then there are things within the charts outside of the overall market psychology that are alluding to this. If it were to happen, it does make perfectly good sense, because this exact play has happened in the past, right? So, all right, so let's get back to the charts here. And so I want you to realize, how high things like, Phantom just retagged its all-time high. So I'm on the Ethereum chart. You have things like Luna that have made three consecutive lower highs, getting ready to come down. So if Ethereum were to make its move down here, alts, big cap alts, those are the ones I'm talking about, hodlers of those types of coins. I mean, your alts are going to suffer very, very, very heavily. So I want you to be very aware of this analysis. And remember here, I gave that warning sign about the red crossing below purple. And what has played out? Red cross below purple. We've almost gotten to the minimum percentage points away from the cross. So we've hit 25% below the cross. The lower end average, the lower tier was more like 32 to 35, right? And 2700 aligns perfectly with the lower end tiers. And it's happened 100% of times, right? 100% of times. So it looks like the move down has not come to completion yet. So be very aware with that. There are so many things in the charts saying that if you're holding large cap alts, your phantoms that are screaming up, and Luna that seems to be kind of withering at this point, but if you're holding that stuff, there's a lot more downside. And if you're newer to the market, you weren't here during 2018, 2019 to see how far stuff can go down. It can go down. Just measure from the all-time high, 98%. That's what a lot of this stuff's going to do, folks. All right. It has a chance of doing that. Right? I don't think it's going to, my personal opinion is, I think strong large cap alts might do more like an 85 to 90% drop, because I don't know if this is going to be quite the bear market that 2018 had and 2019 had. I think it's going to be more of a crypto winter, more similar to 2019, 2020. So I don't think you're going to have such extreme drops, just like we didn't have necessarily such an extreme rise this time, even though the rally from October 2020 to April 2021 was fairly extreme, but it was short-lived, right? So I think we're going to get more of a crypto winter. So to get an understanding of how far your altcoins can go down, take the measuring tool, take it from the top and measure down about 85%. That's how low this stuff can go. And that's being generous. That's being generous. And look how much lower it is from current price after you measure, especially if you're in those coins that are still, kind of going up at this time and look relatively strong relative to the market, all right? So go ahead and click this video right here if you want to learn how to set up a chart like mine, and it'll help you to understand other price analysts on YouTube. And click this video right here if you didn't catch my Bitcoin analysis from today. And y'all just got Timified worldwide. Peace.